Dr. Hisham Maya, thank you for joining us today in the Dubai Smart Cities Forum. And thank you for the time. We'd like to ask you a few questions to share with our audience and students, and hopefully things can emerge from there for better collaboration.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm delighted to be at this event. Looking forward to.
Following up on the discussion today earlier on smart cities, or what smart cities mean, for us it means, at least, this is one of the definitions, they are places where ICT, big data, citizen engagement, human capital development fuel society's innovation and ability to solve developmental problems, urban problems, public service problems in large metropolitan areas. To enhance livability, sustainability, workability. This is one of the many definitions, probably an inclusive one. But with these numerous definitions, how do you see smart cities development?
So our view on smart city is a city that addresses three major elements. The first one is the livability of the citizen, meaning creating really the environment for happy citizens. The second one is the economic prosperity. And the third one is having a government which is able to transform continuously in order to provide the two other dimensions. So talking about platforms, so one needs to build a platform for the city. This platform cannot be only a technical platform, an architect, but there needs to be an architecture around which will be able to address these three elements. So talking about the platform itself, it needs to fulfill different capabilities. The first one we call analytics, meaning providing the right data at the right time in order for everybody who will be either a citizen or a civil servant when using the data to take the right decision. The second one is about applications, providing the right processes for everybody, whether it is a citizen or people from the government working with the system, who will be able afterwards to run these processes, to be agents of this process and achieve the business target behind. The third one is about big data. We've mentioned that before, making data available, using all the bunch of data that one has in order to tailor it to the adapted audience, and also helping the people that way to take informed decisions based on much more information than what was available before. And of course, putting this all in the context of, for instance, a cloud technology, meaning enabling the growth, enabling the scalability and the flexibility of this organization that is currently being set up for future challenges.
Well, you mentioned data, and with the number of devices and things that generate data today in the world, data, it seems to be at the core of smart cities development, or at the core of a policy question for what the policymakers need to look into. A smart cities utilizes data, it shares it, it collects it, it shares it, and it analyzes it, as you put it. And in order to do this, there are a lot of policy questions in place. One of them is how to convince the different information silos in the government or in the society to share this data and collaborate to achieve these goals.
I think it's very important. Data is data privacy, and also data openness is a very important topic. Depending on the culture, one is more or less open to share their data. As an example, in Europe, Germany is a country where people are very reluctant to share data. If you go to the US, people are more open, more willing to share the data. And I think what is very important is, first of all, transparency, creating full transparency about what is going to happen with the data, first thing. And the second thing is also the value this data is going to provide. So what are we going to do with that? And creating really an idea inside the people that what data they're providing will be return on investment for themselves. So sharing this will be able everybody to use the data in order to contribute through innovations, maybe create applications for the government, for the city, that helps afterwards to provide value to everybody.
And that brings us to another questions related one. Is the regulatory infrastructure that requires or enables such collection and sharing and storing and managing the data, and then to analyze it and extract insights and plans for the future? What are the required steps to, or where do we start? If there are any examples around the world that can be shared, where does it start developing the right regulatory infrastructure for data sharing, data openness?
I think that the governance needs to be really taken into account very seriously by security organization of the government itself that takes very seriously the topic that we mentioned and creates this transparency, also shows the value, but also gives the certainty to people that this data are correctly managed. And I think for that a very rigid and very structured policy needs to be communicated to everybody, so people can follow, the different entities will follow this and not misuse the data, on the contrary, provide them the right way. So this is definitely a law topic, a legal topic that needs to be addressed.
It is, and it's also connected to people. And the other element or success or enabler of a smart city, in a way, is the public engagement element, where technology is, or using technology for public engagement is at the DNA of a smart city that functions. And with the increased penetrations of information communication devices and tools and applications in a society, especially in urban places around the world, and especially in this region where Dubai and the UAE lead the region in terms of penetration rates of internet, mobile devices, social media platforms. So the channels of engagements are available. How can we take, or how can a city that wants to be smart can take advantage of these opportunities to understand what the public require?
I think it's important to keep a permanent dialogue with the citizen, involve the citizen very early in initiative that's to be launched. It's good to have a vision, to have a strategy, how to achieve it, but it's important what we call also change management. So if you look at a private company, how you would normally do it, you would set up a change management program along the transformation where you integrate very early the users and the people who are directly affected by this transformation in order to make it a success. And this is important for the government also to take this into consideration and involve very early selected users and to be very citizens who will be part of a bigger forum or organization that will continuously contribute to that. And it's important to have this from different age sections, to have this from different environment, so you'll be able to cover all the different cultural aspects as well.
Excellent. And the thing that comes to mind when thinking about a major initiative on an urban scale, such as, for example, in Dubai, is that the lessons learned from the era of electronic governance development, that there are risks that should be taken into consideration when you embark on such a journey. And to learn some of the lessons from these times, there are times where such initiatives are seen as a technological missions rather than a developmental one or a multifaceted ones. And there are times when copying a best practice while ignoring the local context is also causing failures.
Yes.
And there are areas where vendor-driven is very hard rather than, than the government or the people working on the development is taking the lead. So with these barriers and risks in mind, where do you think a city should start when developing or embarking in such a journey?
I think it's important to start putting the citizen in the middle. So everything is around the human being who lives there, who is normally contributing to the development of the city. It's not an organization, but it's the person who afterwards, with his work, with his life, will contribute to the success of the city and of the economic of the city around. And putting him in the center of the definition of all the services, this is very important. But on the other side, you need also leaders who think ahead. Otherwise, you're stuck in a certain status quo for today, who will then define the vision. That's why it's important to always to have a vision, but during this transformation, you always check what the citizen really want, to be in line with that, and also to guide him, to help him thrive and to help him to develop towards something that is new for him and adds value to his life.
Excellent. And at this point, I think this is where Dubai has one of the key enablers, which is a leadership and a vision towards building the city of the future. And many other elements of success, such as the infrastructure, the technology infrastructure, the people engagement element or channels that are put in place as well. But there are also questions regarding capacity and human resources and financial resources, etc., and how this is to be dealt with, as well as the culture that exists within the public sector of collaboration, how to increase collaboration, how to get everybody aligned. So how to deal with these barriers and challenges globally, they exist as well. So how can we deal with them?
I think first you mentioned is talent. It's really developing talent. It's about education, about skills improvement. So developing the right skills and also to retain these talents. So it's not only enough to develop, but also to make these people be productive afterwards. So it's important to create the right environment. So we see it's like a cycle here. You create the right environment for people to thrive, to develop themselves, and they themselves will be contributing. So education is one of the main topics. And also give people afterwards the environment in order to further develop their ideas, like giving them platforms in order to develop ideas for startups, for instance. This is a very important topic, and this way they really contribute to the economic growth of the city and help themselves to drive afterwards the development into a smarter city. So giving this platform, the infrastructure, giving the processes, giving the funds for this is absolutely crucial.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to embark on this journey in Dubai as an example for the region. And I would like to thank you at the end of this interview, Dr. Hisham Maya, Head of Business Transformation Services at SAP Europe, Middle East and Africa. And thank you for joining us again in the Dubai Smart Cities Forum. And hopefully we'll be in touch in the future for more collaboration.
Thank you very much. For a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. A city of the future or a smart city is a place where the city can utilize information and communication technologies, big data analysis, citizen engagement, human capital development, all to fuel innovation in society and to solve societal problems and public policy problems and public service problems to enhance livability, workability, and sustainability of the city. Dubai has many of the elements that requires, or the enablers that are required in place. We have strong leadership, we have a vision for the future of the city, and we have the infrastructure. However, there are challenges and there are lessons to be learned in going to the future. At the Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government and the Dubai Smart Cities Forum that we've started could be an area where research and insight can be brought together for the policymakers in one place to develop the future plan or support the future plans of the Dubai Smart City.